Okay, so I'm just removing the baffles from my Rinehart Slip-Ons, and the tools I'm using to do this are a rubber wrench strap and or rubber strap wrench, and I've also got a bit of coat hanger wire that I've just formed into a hook to hook into one of the louvers in the baffle. I've got a socket on the end here so I can sort of pull on it, and what I'm doing is I'm just working this end cap loose because it's pretty tight with the rubber wrench strap. I'm just going backwards and forwards and at the same time pulling on this wire, and it's just helping to bring this end cap off because the baffle is attached to this end cap. Now to get this loose you have to undo these two little screws, one at the top, one at the back here, that you have to take out first. And then I'm just going backwards and forwards. I'm not going all the way around. I'm just going backwards and forwards because there's probably some adhesive, some high temp silicone adhesive on here to seal it. So I just pull, and just do a little turn, and it's just working its way out as I'm pulling and turning on it. I'm not rushing, I'm just taking my time. I don't want to damage anything. There we go. Got it. That came out a bit faster than I was anticipating. Okay, well, it's not. That's a pretty short baffle. I'm going to wrap this with fiberglass matting, which I've bought, and get my little wire out of here. As I said, they're done. There we go. So you can see it's just got a hook on the end, and you can see those louvers. I'm just hooking into those inside here. Now you compare this to the length of the actual muffler. It's not very long. I bought enough fiberglass to go from here to here. There is a tube in here which this slips onto on the end here. So I think what I'll do is I'll pack this muffler up to here with fiberglass. I'll cut it a bit longer and then just have it slip over. I think that'll be the way to go. If you want to change the end caps on these, it's just a matter of undoing these screws and you can change the end cap and have a different end cap, but I quite like this end cap. But I am surprised at how short this baffle is. Okay, just a progress update to show you where I'm at. The bike, as you can see, is missing its end caps and baffles. They're currently here. Now they have the lollipops installed. You can see that there. Excuse the rough paint finish, I just squirted a bit of black on them to make them not so obvious. And you won't really see them until you're sort of, even at that angle there, you're not going to see them. It's only when you look down into the pipe you'll see them. It's about 3 to 4 inches in from the end. That's probably about as far as you want to put them in. And yeah, so they're both done and ready to go back together. Now I have my fiberglass exhaust packing material here. So that's ready to go in. So my next step is to wrap these with this packing. Probably go to about from there to there. Now this end has to fit into like a sleeve inside here, that section just slots in. I don't know if you can see it. So it's got to fit into there. So what I'm going to do, my plan is to cut it at this length and then wrap it and then fold this back over so that it's just overlapping a little bit here, and then tape that down. That's the other thing too. All the videos I've been watching recommend just using, well, not all, but either masking tape or just straight packaging tape. So I'll wrap the fiberglass around and then wrap tape around it to hold it all on, and then poke it back into the system. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned why I'm doing all this. I'm doing this to cure 3 problems with the Rinehart mufflers, slip-on mufflers on this bike. First problem being, for me, is noise. It's after riding around for it now and living with it for a week or two, it's too loud for me. I want to be able to ride around town without wearing earplugs, and I can't do it on this bike. If I'm wearing earplugs, it's fine, totally fine. But I reckon it's a bit obnoxious for everyone around me. So number one goal is to just make it a little bit quieter, which well, this wadding or this packing will certainly do that. Number two is I want to solve a bit of a loss of power issue down low. So when I go to accelerate down low, I've lost that initial torque and the initial takeoff. So where it would just gradually open the throttle and as you just take off, now I'll open the throttle, it'll bog down a little bit and then take off. So I want to restore that lost torque, which those lollipops will fix that. And the third thing that's been really, this has been really bugging me, and that is D-cell popping. So I believe that I'm suffering from reversion, and that's where you go from a restricted system to a more open pipe, and on the pulses where it's evacuating air from the muffler, it also then can suck it back in. And when it sucks it back in is when it ignites in the muffler and I get popping. Now, I don't mind D-cell popping, but this is D-cell banging, and it's just bang, bang, bang. It's just, it's like a gun going off, and I'm getting dirty looks wherever I go, just even on every gear change. As soon as I back off to 0 throttle, bang. So these lollipops reportedly will stop the air from being sucked back into the system. So they're the 3 things that I wanted to solve, the 3 issues that I wanted to solve. I much prefer the sound of these pipes to the stock pipe, so that's great. And I also like the fact that these flow air more freely. And I have noticed a benefit at highway speeds. The bike is definitely breathing easier, where I wouldn't put it into 6th gear because I felt it was sort of choked up and lugging and it just didn't feel right. Now I can drop it into 6th gear at 100 kilometres an hour or 60 miles an hour, and it feels really good, just really nice and free flowing. So what I've done with the lollipops is, I don't know if you can see, I've made them about 2/3 the size of the opening. So the opening's about 60 millimetres, and I've made them about 40 millimetres in diameter. And I didn't want to go too large because I wanted to keep that free-flowing nature, but I just wanted to cut back a lot of that D-cell popping. So we'll see how it goes. I'll quickly also show you the bits I bought just to make the lollipops. So if you want to make some yourself, you can buy them online. Fuel Moto has them, and the other place is DK Customs. They do their own version of the lollipop. But anyway, let's have a look how I made my lollipops. Okay, so these are the bits that I used to make the lollipop. Now, this is a 2-inch washer, mudguard or fender washer, as you might call them in the US. And I actually ground down the disc down to about 43 millimetres, which is about 2/3 the opening of the muffler. So I couldn't find the exact size I wanted, so I got a larger and just ground it down. I then found this little bracket here from the hardware store, and what I like about this bracket, it's got this little support brace sort of built into it here. So it's just got a bit of strength to it. When it's in the muffler and the air's flowing against it, it's not going to bend back, which is good. So I Also had to drill an 8mm hole here, about 30mm up from the bottom here, which put the disc smack in the centre of the exhaust pipe. And then I also drilled out this hole here to 8mm and cut the end off because the flutes inside the baffle were contacting with the end of this, so I cut that off so it's just on the flat, ended up on the flatter piece of the baffle. And then it was just a case of some M8 20mm long bolts. I bought some contact washers, and you'll see they're a little bit different because they've got, they've got little grooves in them to stop them from spinning. And I also got some serrated nuts, and you can see again there they've got some teeth on them to bite in so that they don't undo, they'll sort of lock on. And they're M8 nuts. So it was a case of getting my bolt, putting the contact washer on with the grooves on that side against the fender washer or mudguard washer, into the bracket, into the hole I had, and then just this nut on the back, and that all locked up nicely and stopped it from coming undone. And then to bolt to the inside of the mufflers, that's where I'd use these screws here. So the 20mm M8 bolt, contact washer, like so, poke that through, and then this serrated nut on the other side locked it on. And that's what it looks like from, that's what it looks like from the outside. Now these were black ones I got, just showing you these as an example. There's aluminium or zinc coloured ones. And yeah, that's it. Alright, now let's get to wrapping some packing or wadding around these baffles and get them back into the bike. There is one other thing I want to show you as well. I had a devil of a time getting one of the baffles out, and when I had a look inside the pipe, where they drill holes through the skin of the muffler, on the inside there were still burrs on the holes, and there's some burrs around the bottom of the actual skin of the muffler, and consequently this was all black, but I just had to work it out and twist it out and drag it out, kicking and screaming basically to get it out, and it sort of marked up all the aluminium on the inside here, which you won't see, this is on the inside of the pipe, but I've filed it down to get rid of all the grooves that were left in it. Yeah, that was hard getting that out, so I've cleaned up the inside of the skin of the muffler. I've taken all those burrs out, so hopefully this will go back in a lot nicer than it came out. This fiberglass wadding packing is pretty thick. Thinking I've got to get it back into the actual muffler, so I won't need, probably shouldn't have cut that. I reckon I only need about that much, because it's just to take the loudness off, just take the edge off the loudness, so, and then I can still get it back into the muffler. I've got to poke this in, so this is going to be tricky. But what I think I'll do is, I was going to say, use a broom handle to poke down the centre of it to line it up, but I've got my lollipop in there, so that's not going to work. Alright, so I'm going to have to poke this in and get it lined up. So I don't think I'll be able to have a lot hanging over. It's probably going to be about as much as I'd want, I reckon. Do it as tight as I can. Yeah, I reckon that's about it. That's where I want it. Okay. Okay, I think I'll cut there. I'll do one, and if I need to modify another one I can. This stuff cuts pretty easy with scissors. that's going to be plenty. No, I'm going to have to cut that back, it's too... I've got to try and gauge how far this section pushes into the other section. Otherwise it's going to be very difficult to get it back in. Okay, that's the distance in to where it meets the other piece. So it only overlaps it by about 10 mil. I think what I'll do is I'll stop my packing back here just to ensure that that can insert into the piece it's got to go into. Yeah, let's do that. Geez, I might be able to get two. That's pretty well cutting this piece in half, you know. Let's fold it over and see. Bit short maybe. I want to go a bit further. I want to cover these. Yeah. Alright, so let's go probably to about something like that. A little bit longer. Yeah, I reckon it'll be good there. Alright, let's test that. I think that's going to work. That'll give me a little bit of extra room there to get that back onto the inside sleeve. We'll tape that down nice and tight and we should be good to go. Right, let's cut another one of those. Highly recommend wearing gloves when working with this stuff. Very itchy. And being careful not to knock it around to get fibres flying all over the place. So let's put this away. Put these pieces away. Let's start taping this up. Well, I'm going to cut just some length of tape to hold it down, and then I'll go over it and wrap it right up. I'll get some better scissors though. Okay, I've got some tape ready to go. Let's do the first one. Try and get as tight as I can. It just didn't stick very well. Where the bolt is for the lollipop. See if that's going to cause any issue. Alright, that's the first one done. So what I'm going to do now is fit this one in. I think I'm going to have to tap that in with a mallet once I've got it lined up, and then do the next one. But I'll do this one first just in case there's something I haven't foreseen going back in, and yeah, be back shortly. It's almost as if it's lost its round shape when I took this out. So I think I've just got to be forceful with it to get it back in. Alright, I'll be back in a tick. Okay, just thought I'd try this one first because this one was easy to get off, and it was easy to get. I still had to tap it on, but I just wanted to make sure my lengths were all correct and it was alright, so that's okay. So now this will go in. I've just got to, this is out of shape a bit, which is probably why this was hard to get off. So anyway, that one's on. I might bolt that one up, and you may have noticed too that I've put the Rinehart logos around the other side. I just want to keep it just clean and stock looking, so that if someone sees it, they just think it's a stock pipe. So I think I might just file a bit more of a bevel on this one to get it started, and then tap it in, and we should be good. I 3D printed up this, modelled and 3D printed up this bit of a shield, so for this very reason I can pop it over the slip-on and have it up against this edge, so I can file away on the back here without risking, in the back here like so, without risking slipping and marring the finish on the actual end cap. So I'll do some filing, try and put a bit more of a bevel on this, and then we'll give it another go. I'm just trying to get it, just a bit of a shoulder off it, just to help get it started. Oh, got it. That one did not want to go in. Ended up putting some WD-40 in there just to help it. The hole's not quite lined up here, so I've got to twist it around a little bit. Let's see if we can do that. Just with this rubber strap wrench. Pop it over there. There we go. Alright, that's lined up. Just to make sure, I'm just going to make sure the head of my mallet's clean. We'll start tapping into this thing. Well, I reckon we're in. Let's put some bolts in and then we can start it up and see what it sounds like. Just got two small bolts to go into the hold the end caps in. One here, one around the back here, same for the bottom. Let's get them in and done up. Now before we start it up, what's the one thing we need to do? We need to make sure we get all my fingerprints and greasy marks off these slip-ons, because once they get hot, that'll be baked in. So I'll go over it with isopropyl alcohol and then we'll start it up. D-cell pop test, see if it does any popping when I give the throttle a blip. Okay, well, very interesting results. When I gave it the initial sharp blip, I got D-cell popping, but when I did the gradual rolling on and off, I didn't get any D-cell popping at all, where I would normally would. But the real test is going to be a ride. Let's take it for a ride and see what it's like. Now, as for volume, it hasn't quietened it down as much as I thought it would, but it has taken the edge off it, so I think that might be alright. Alright, okay, let's see if I've got my torque back, and if... I just want to be able to change gears without it D-cell popping and just going bang, bang, bang every time I change gears. If I can just ride around town without it D-cell popping, just if I'm just riding gradually, I don't care if it does it when I'm getting on it. It's just when I'm just riding around town, cruising, I just don't want it D-cell popping. Alright, let's take it for a test ride. You know, I was worried that the lollipops would take off the edge off the note, off the mufflers, but it still aggressive. It's still sharp. I thought it might make it sound a bit puffy, but no, it's still very clean. Yeah, that surprised me actually, how clean it still sounds. But it has taken, I do believe it has taken the edge off the loudness. I'm going to ride around town without earplugs, so that's going to be the real test.